Your Excellency, Honorable Governor in absentia, would like to just greet him. The host, the president of the university, who is with us, the Honorable Azim, the governors, members of the governance office that are here, all directors of the local government that are here, the eminent local leaders, the parliamentarians that are here, the distinguished members of the international and regional organizations, respected scholars and representatives from the academia, the valued partners from civil society and the private sector. But most importantly, I would like to really salute Dr. Najat. Dr. Najat, who's been hospitable, who's been receiving me, but who's been really wearing 3 hats at the same time, you know, and so wonderful, you know, to have a woman leading the organization and also coordinating this program, and for her passion and her commitment and dedication. Thank you very much, Dr. Najat. Okay. Good morning, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. You know, all protocols observed, all those that have come from the various local governments of the various countries, welcome to this beautiful city of El Jadid. I just discovered it, and you know, I'm just so pleased that I'm here. And I'm pleased that the driver lost his way today, because he took me all over the city and I discovered the beauty of this city. So I'm so grateful in a way. So, you know, I'm so happy to be here. I am really, really deeply honored and humbled to join you and address this August gathering today. Before I delve into the topic at hand, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to the United States and local governments of Africa, UCLG, for extending this gracious invitation to me to be able to participate in the 7th edition of the African Forum of Territorial Managers and Training Institutes. In this spirit of collective reflection and collaboration, I want to focus my remarks today on the importance of local and regional governments in economic development, integration, and trade, and the escalating role of cities as centers of growth. And certainly later on, I will address you relative to the AFCFTA and the linkage between the local government and the importance of local government in the AFCFTA realization. Ladies and gentlemen, as we contemplate the role of local governments in economic development, it's essential to recognize that the discussion is also set against the backdrop of a profound transformation on our continent. The steady rise in urbanization is reshaping the very fabric of our societies. This urban demographic shift is not just a statistical trend, but a narrative defining the next chapter in Africa's journey. This understanding enables us to harness the potential of our cities as drivers of economic growth. Africa is on the brink of a transformative urban evolution, with over 2/3 of the continent's population projected to reside in urban areas by 2050. And by the way, 1 out of 4 of the population in 2050 will be an African. This shift signifies a change in the economic structure of our continent, with cities progressively emerging as engines of growth and economic dynamism. Since 1990, the number of cities in Africa has doubled, and their cumulative population has increased by 500 million. In 2022, Your Excellency, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa released a report on the leading role of cities in unlocking economic gains made available through regional integration, particularly under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The report highlights 4 important issues that are important for our discussion today. The first one is regional integration has the potential to raise living standards by connecting cities to new markets, thereby enhancing access to a wider and cheaper variety of goods and services. 2, the spatial effects of regional trade can transform Africa's urban corridors, thus contributing to the rise of small and intermediary cities and regional hubs and better urban-rural connectivity. The third one is urban consumption can transform Africa if the demand is met through intra-regional production and trade. And the last one is better connectivity among cities is necessary to develop the necessary regional value chains under the AFCFTA. But not only regional value chains, but also the supply chains and also the forward and backward linkages of investment. These are instructive reflections for our reconceptualization of the role of our urban spaces in the continent, in the cities. In essence, they are not merely clusters. Cities, in essence, are not merely clusters of buildings, but vibrant hubs of economic dynamism. They are where innovation, education, and commerce converge, contributing 60% of Africa's GDP. Subnational and local governments are places. They are places where wealth is produced and traded. They are therefore a critical level of government to work with when it comes to operationalizing the AFCFTA, as the bulk of actors involved in intra-African trade are African small, medium enterprises. These small, medium enterprises account for 90% of Africa's businesses and are the main players in the expansion of trade dynamics beyond the borders, beyond the boundaries of the localities and countries these SMSCs operate from. Notwithstanding the growing importance of urban spaces in the social and economic transformation the continent is experiencing, we must continue prioritizing rural development. First, because rural Africa will continue being home to hundreds of millions of our citizens, but most importantly, the economic activities that define the rural economy, namely agriculture, will remain vital for sustaining the livelihood of the urban population. As we look to the future, local governments will have to transcend their traditional bureaucratic functions and become initiators, catalysts, and drivers of transformative processes. Again, notwithstanding, we know all too well that local governments' challenges limit their ability to exercise their transformative functions, from infrastructure strain to social inequalities to governance challenges. Our cities are battling to absorb the inward immigration in a substantial way. Addressing these challenges and building cities that grow economically and thrive as equitable, healthy, and vibrant communities is a shared responsibility, a collective endeavor. Among many things we have to do to achieve these lofty objectives, I want to highlight the need to strengthen economic governance at the local level. In this regard, developing local government capacity and increasing decentralization are indispensable to accelerating and improving the quality of economic growth in Africa. Despite significant decentralization efforts in recent decades, African local governments still have low administrative and physical capacity. According to the OECD, Africa's Urbanization Dynamics 2022 report, focusing on the economic power of African cities, on average, only 14.1% of staff expenditure in the public sector in Africa is allocated to local governments, only 14.1%. Likewise, local governments are responsible for only 11% of all public investment. Not only are these percentages less than half the global average, but they are also much lower than the average in low and lower middle income countries outside Africa. Many local governments lack the trained staff and the budget to pursue effective economic development policies. This has a detrimental effect on investments, revenue mobilization, productivity, and the city's attractiveness to foreign investors. The consequences are felt not only at the local level, but also at the national level. Local governments must therefore address critical structural and coordination challenges that actively constrain growth and development. Action will include providing incentives to private investors in identified sectors deemed essential for development and job creation, coordinating investment activities, and utilizing the government budget to directly invest in identified activities that promote economic and industrial development. Additionally, the need to secure critical services like water and energy in cities is no less important. Without these, it becomes challenging to attract industrial investments on a substantive basis.